so I was, when I had a boy, finally, July 13th, 1990, I had a boy, Shannon. And my brother Byron gave him the name, and the reason Shannon came from was intelligence. And we hoped that that would create his future. So we gave him this name, Shannon. So I remember looking at him as a baby and communicating with him. You know, at about 6 months old, I'd be signing to him, and his eyes would be watching and taking this signed language in. Remember, I would do the ABCs. I love you. I would always say, I love you, I love you. I would sign it to him. And then as he's become an adult, we would watch him. He would read these books. He'd pour through books every day, Monday through Friday. He'd have these books in front of him. And he wouldn't focus on socializing and friends. He loved his books, right, Shannon? So now, you know, that foundation of reading, how does that translate into his future in business?
Early on, my parents would just encourage me to really get about like just reading things. Always even in my spare time just reading, and how that translated into where I am now is just being always curious for information. And something that I would definitely see myself passing on to my children, just understanding that despite, you know, how we grow up and how we live, there's also an opportunity to become in a better situation by what you know. And my mom was big on that, and just focusing on my education and encouraging me to do things that, I mean, ultimately at times I didn't think I could do, and to source that positivity and that motivation from my mother has been very important to me. And I think I definitely want to serve as that person to my next generation, because my mom's given me that.
And that's true. I had concerns growing up. You know, maybe I didn't want him to be involved in the streets. I didn't want these people to be a bad influence on you, right? But as a deaf mother, how do you navigate that? These folks didn't communicate with me, and you would focus on your books. After school, you would have these programs, and we put you in the library. We put you in these programs. My concerns, my husband, we would have these conversations, and we had different perspectives, we had different roles in raising you, and me being strict and more strict about education, furthering your education, you focus on it. And I always wanted to maintain that positive focus and that strength, and that's why my family was always strong in education, always rooted in education. My mom graduated with a master's degree. I went to college. We all went to college, so it was kind of passed on in our family. My mother was very, very strict in regards to education, and I was even stricter than she was with my kids about education. I didn't know anything about school as far as what the best choice of the school for Shannon was. So you would try these different avenues, these different schools, to find that path towards a good education for Shannon. So I'd have these conversations with the counselors, and they would recommend getting Shannon into school, right? And then further in high school, you know, it was far. We took him to a school that was very far away, but we put him in this school. This is Martin Luther King High School. Shannon was this tiny guy. He wasn't a big kid, right? So 9th grade, he comes in, he's about this tall, and I'm worried about him because he's so small. But hey, you know, we said, let's get Shannon in there. Let's get him into this school, and he grew in Black history, in education, and in height, and we kept him going, you know. And then finally, at graduation from high school, you could take that deep breath. My brother Byron, he was the last of my brothers. He said, you know, he should have the name Shannon. Shannon is a rich, educated sign of purity, and this is a name that we selected for Shannon. And he's lived up to the expectations of the name.
Honestly, I think I got a great mix between my mother and my father, actually, because my mother was definitely like academic, like I want you to understand just the institution structure, like of what you want to do, and my dad was more about just the street smarts of it. So this education of just being aware of your surroundings, you know, knowing that you were a young Black kid growing up in Detroit. And so my mother was more strict in obviously putting the structure in place on studying, like you need to study right now after school or going to programs, very much so more than just an education that was just going to middle school or high school. It was like, what are you interested in? We're going to look into like camps to send you to. I remember spending a summer in Illinois in high school to learn about accounting, and that's something my mother really pushed me to do. I remember going to Grand Rapids to learn more about being a business professional, and that's something my mom put a lot together for me to do. And even when I got to college as an adult, I remember like being at Michigan, making this cultural transition from being in a city that had, just predominantly African American population, and getting there and having to lean on my mom a lot to just really get me through the academic side of it, but then also the transition into I think society as a whole. And I think that kind of was consistent from what was in our household, like this structure, but also just this flexibility on growing into yourself. That's an important thing I think about a lot. I mean, when I think about just my mother's impact on me.
I'm really proud to have a mother like you that supported me throughout my life. And I know there's times that I've felt like a failure. And I've always known, rock bottom is where you're supporting me. And I've taken great pride in that. And pride in knowing that you'll always support me in my dreams in the future. And that's really what I'm proud of. And I'm proud of you, Shannon, not giving up. If you had a slogan, and you remember this, I would tell you this before, never say you can't. Never say you can't. And you would press on, and you have pressed on until today. Today you're working, as a banker, right? You've moved up in the world, and I'm really, really proud of you. I haven't been proud, I couldn't be proud before because you hadn't completed that journey, but I'm proud of you today.